We've been complaining about what appears to be the intentional degradation of our educational system for years now. If you went through the state school system in the UK, as I did, you will know exactly what I mean. Just listen to the man in the street interviews from the 1960s compared to those done now, and it is crystal clear that those people then have something that we don't have now. Put simply, we're being dumbed down by the powers that be on purpose, but we don't have to accept this perpetual lowering of standards. We are still a free people, and it's time to do something about it. This is why we have created courses.lotuseaters.com, a platform on which we are now offering courses which are tailor-made to reconstruct the education that has been denied to us. The first course we have available is Dr. Nima Parvini's excellent Trivium, a tripartite course consisting of logic, grammar, and rhetoric, which is the foundation and backbone of a classical education. This course will make you a better writer, speaker, and thinker, and it used to be that every 12-year-old in the country would take it. Personally, I will be doing this course with my own children to ensure they get the benefits of it for their whole lives, but it's never too late to do it, and I really think you should. We will also be producing many other courses in the future on subjects which are not topics of idle interest, but which instead will level you up as a person and make you more effective in the real world. I want to be clear, these are not YouTube videos. They are university-level lectures and coursework with a test at the end to which you will have to apply yourself. In these, we are not offering you an easy life. We are offering you the foundations of what you will need to be a part of the ascent of our civilization out of the hole that was dug for us. They are not easy, but they are rewarding. They are an investment in yourself that will provide you with skills that you will use for the rest of your life. Courses.lotuseaters.com. We will see you there.
Biden was never legitimate. If you remember, this was the story until not so long ago, that he was, in 2024, at his last physical, we were told that he was a healthy, active, robust 81-year-old male who remains fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency.
Could any 81-year-old truly be characterised as active and robust? Never mind Joe Biden.
Yes, so I mean, I'm I suppose middle-aged now, but you can be healthy for an 81-year-old. So what I've found is that when people ask me now, "How are you, Dan?" and I say good, my current definition of good would have been near death if you had asked me when I was 25 and I felt like this. Right? But so your definitions do change with time.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, more or less. But anyway, so the official narrative was that he was in absolute perfect health, and you would expect that because the American president is, of course, going to get the very best medical treatment, and of course he's surrounded by top-tier doctors. You know, this is clearly an individual who knows basic biology like the back of her hands. And in this particular case, Rachel Levine, not only is she a professor of medicine, but also of psychiatry, so can spot any mental infirmities.
Yes, you would have expected him to have a very good grasp of health issues, but apparently something slipped him by.
No idea what you're referring to there, but the broad point is surrounded by doctors, and actually he even had a top doctor as his sort of personal presidential doctor,
right?
He had probably received the best medical care of basically anyone on Earth,
right?
So you would think.
And you would expect the testing for him to be the most thorough.
Exactly.
You would expect the concern for someone of his age to be quite important, and for all of the batteries of tests, standard and non-standard, to have been done. You would have expected them to have gone beyond what is the norm.
Well, no expense spared, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we can safely establish that the man is in absolute top health. Not only that, but we know from the all the people that were speaking on his behalf that he's genuinely hard to keep up with.
What more can you tell us about the president's health regime? We hear he's lifting weights. What sort of weights is he lifting? Does he have a personal trainer? And what happened to his Peloton bike?
You can hear this at home.
To the White House?
I didn't know where this was going, but I'm intrigued by it. I will say I have nothing to read out on the president's private exercise regime, but I can tell you, having traveled with him,
like a mischievous geriatric man.
Yes, exactly. Not only that, but let's just try a little bit of this video. Is this going to work, Samson, or no? Let's find out.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally?
Detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So clearly, absolutely no health issues with Joe Biden whatsoever.
None whatsoever. None. Absolutely none.
However, we have just learnt that he had cancer.
Apparently, a form of cancer that takes a little bit longer than from January 20 till today, a little bit longer than 4 months to metastasize to this level.
Yes. Do you remember there was that weird incident? Was it last July where he was coming back from Las Vegas, or no, he was going somewhere and they diverted to a hospital in Las Vegas, and the rumours were swirling that he was on death's door, and we're expecting to hear more about it, and it just disappeared. That story, it just sort of went.
It just hushed.
Yes. So something odd is going on. Interesting timing that it's been announced now.
Yes,
because Jake Tapper is just about to release a book detailing his mental decline, which of course invokes a whole bunch of questions that we'll be coming to about who was actually running the country then all of this time, who was exercising the powers of the presidency.
Not just the country, the empire. I mean,
the empire, yes.
Everyone is affected by who the American president.
Well, very much, people.
Mental capacity.
We're very much affected, being a vassal. So, it matters who the emperor is. But anyway, so Jake Tapper is basically saying that his mental decline was covered up by Jake Tapper and other people.
By Jill Biden, you mean?
No. Jake Tapper himself.
Jake Tapper wrote the book. Yes.
Yeah, he wrote the book about it's being covered up, but Jake Tapper himself is also one of the people who covered it up.
Yes.
I could play many videos of him covering it up on the way.
Yes.
It is enough to make you think that maybe Jake Tapper should just quit politics because he's no good at it and maybe try journalism instead.
Yeah, it's a transparent tell-all book, no doubt.
Yes.
It's incredible that he gets to profit both by covering it up and by exposing the cover-up. It sort of shows you the extent of patronage in the system. So long as you're one of us, Tapper, for those who don't know, is a CNN guy, he gets to get paid while saying Biden is absolutely healthy, there's nothing wrong with Biden, everything's wonderful. And he also gets to make a fantastic book deal saying, haha, we lied to you all along. It's just incredible, the extent of corruption and shamelessness.
I mean, after everything they put this old man through, and now they're just throwing him under the bus because it's time to do so, because the political machine requires it.
Yep.
I mean, Joe Biden even, let's play this, Samson. Joe Biden even admitted it once.
Yes.
That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why can't for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
So I mean, and of course, being Biden, they just said, he's misspoken, because he was making gaffes all the time. But you have to wonder, well, which of them were gaffes and which of them weren't.
He doesn't have cancer; it's just his dementia speaking, which he also doesn't have, by the way.
Yes, exactly that. So we're now in the position where apparently. Yes, they covered up the dementia. Yes, they covered up the cancer, but they were totally telling the truth about everything else.
I mean, don't you trust them? Isn't that how you establish trust?
Yes. The person that I have most contempt for in all of this is the person we can see on the screen, and not the cat. The
I have no contempt for cats.
Jill Biden. What the hell was she doing? I mean, they must have known for years, and she wanted the perk so much that she put her husband through that.
Yep, it's very sinister. The more you think about it, the more, to go on with that charade and to present him as capably as possible.
Isn't she supposed to be a doctor as well? I mean, she kept on correcting.
She's not that kind of doctor. But she's...
Oh, was she Dr. Trajan Pottery or something?
Yeah, something like that. Right. She's a doctor in education whose own thesis was written exceptionally badly,
right?
If I remember correctly.
Oh, and for that, she spent 2 years replying to people on Twitter, chastising them for not using Dr. Jill Biden.
I believe so, yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, fair enough. Some other sad news, actually, and this one's certainly no joking matter, but Scott Adams did a stream yesterday because I heard the news about Joe, and I thought, okay, well, I'll cover that on the podcast. So I stopped in to listen what Scott Adams was saying. We can play this without sound.
Don't check your stocks.
So Scott Adams has sort of, almost single-handedly raised the bar for podcasters. He's been doing an exceptional job over these past few years. And yesterday he sadly admitted that he has the same kind of cancer as Joe Biden. Only in his case, it is, he's had it longer, and he doesn't expect to see out this summer.
I'm just hearing that's really sad to hear.
Yeah,
that's really upsetting.
Very tragic. I mean, he's a great speaker, Scott, and actually, I just want to read you a little bit of what he said off the cuff because it's great words. He said, "I realise that some of you, this is hitting hard because you're hearing it for the first time. I have to say that everybody has to die, and as far as I know, it's kind of civilised that you know about how long you have, so you can put your affairs together and make sure you've said your goodbyes and all the things you need to do." Cancer is really painful, like really, really painful, but it's also kind of good that it gives you enough time while your brain is still working to wrap things up. I can see in the comments that some of you are having a hard time with this, but remember, nothing lasts forever. Great words.
We'll pray for him.
And he raises an interesting point there that's worth thinking about. He's saying, he's kind of saying that better cancer than something that takes away your mind. As painful as it is, at least you can put your affairs in order.
Yeah.
So that was sad. I've spoken to Scott, did a Brokenomics with him, absolutely lovely guy. It's a real shame, and he's been very brave. He's talked about lots of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Risk cancellation. Well, I mean, they've tried to cancel him many times.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, very, very sad. And of course, part of what he did on that live stream was talk about how it's a long duration illness.
Yes.
It doesn't just sort of sneak up on you. In fact, here's Chamath Palihapitiya just running the maths on how likely is it that in between that last medical in July 2024 that we started with, and now how likely is it that the cancer has got to this stage? And the answer that he comes back with is 0.0002%.
Yeah. They knew, and they decided to do it just for power. It's absolutely sinister.
Yes.
Sinister.
When you go back to the 1960s, when it comes to British politics as well, I think I'm right in stating that one of the reasons that Harold Wilson, it was the 70s by then, but one of the reasons why Harold Wilson ended up resigning was because he had quite early onset dementia.
Yes.
And so even in an early stage, that was, I'm no longer physically capable of doing the job anymore.
Because it was seen as you're doing a duty to the nation, you have to perform it to the very best of ability or get out of the way.
Right.
Exactly right. So, I mean, you don't need to be a master of logic to see that, clearly they're lying about this. However, if you're not a master of logic and you'd like to be, can I recommend our upcoming webinar on improving your logic? If you follow this, you'll be able to find a similar webinar we did on improving your writing, which is useful for anybody who wants to sort of get ahead in business, or if they've got a child they want to up level, or whatever it is you're doing. Come and sign up for the webinar. So next I'll play you this little clip. Samson, do you want to play this in full? This is worth listening to.
You're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected you believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Okay, so just to point out what's going on here. So first of all, this is MSNBC, which is Democrat Central.
Yep.
Secondly, this guy is not just an oncologist speaking. This is Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, who not only is a sort of senior oncologist and senior fellow of wherever it is he works out of, it's the brother to Rob Emanuel, who was Obama's chief of staff.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So this is an all angles. The Democrats have decided this is the moment where, we put this old doddering old man who should have been, sat in a lounge chair with a blanket over his knees for the last 5 years. After everything we put him through, this is the moment that the Democratic machine throws him under the bus. I mean,
I'm in awe of the cynicism and of the cruelty that they would. I mean, this is Obama's man through and through. Rahm Emanuel and his family, these are fully Obama people. And there was never a great relationship between Biden and Obama. So for them to come out at this moment and just stab Biden one last time before he's dead shows you a level of cruelty and a level of deliberateness. We hid it all along. We played you. He probably had it before he became president. And now we are going to rub your noses in it and tell you that there's nothing you can do about it. And then when the legal stuff you're going to discuss comes up, they're going to say, well, it was all fine. You shouldn't consider what we just said. It's sort of, they choose a narrative and they throw it at you based purely on convenience, with absolute no respect for your integrity, for your intellectual.
It's almost like a humiliation ritual with everything they do.
Yes.
Not only are they humiliating the man that they've just put through this, but they're humiliating us. That everything that you guys have been talking about for. I mean, we were talking about Joe's health and mental health for years.
Yes.
And they constantly attacked us. I mean, I remember people in the press section, asking that press secretary questions about his health.
Yes.
And, they would just be mocked for asking a question about the health.
But then not only is it the health, issue, the now double-pronged health issue of both dementia and prostate cancer, but if it is the case, as the chap says there, that actually there's a strong possibility that, he had the cancer before he actually became president.
Oh, the first one,
then they fortified an election for a cancer. For someone
for basically a guy that they knew they could completely control,
right?
Just by controlling his meds, presumably. That was presumably the thinking here. I also want to come on to your point about the legal aspect of this, because of course, Biden used a hell of a lot of executive orders. He appointed a lot of judges. He did do a lot of things.
Yes.
And that all rests on the signature of the president on various documents. And the question has always been, well, how much was he aware of what's going on? I mean, I'm going to focus here on for example, the power to pardon.
Yes.
And sorry to have to do this to you guys, but I'm going to put you on the spot with an American civics test, and you can play along with this at home. And basically what I've done is I've got two versions of Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, the bit that talks about the pardons. And I've made a tiny, tiny tweak to two versions. And I want to see if your American civics are good enough to spot the difference between the two. So here's the first version. And it says, the president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offences against the United States except in cases of impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's version 1. Let's show you version 2 and see if you can detect... why is it not scrolling? Let's try and scroll down on. Here we go.
Mm.
Here's version 2. See if you can detect whether this one is the legitimate one. An autopen that may or may not have been in the same building as an illegitimate puppet president. Grant pardons in advance to obviously guilty regime members before their crimes have even been established. What do you reckon, Luca? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm going to go with number 2.
No, actually, it was number 1.
Wow.
Damn.
Yes.
Wow.
But very subtle. But no, I'm addressing a serious point here. This guy's been out of it for his presidential term.
I mean, we don't know what kind of treatment he was getting, but any kind of cancer treatment, even if it isn't chemo,
yes,
is physically extremely taxing.
Yes.
Yes. So, and he was always suspected of dementia throughout his years from 2019. From 2019, the stories were going around about him not being fully there. The last gentleman, Dr. Emmanuel, we listened to, was saying that he could have conceivably had it in 2015, 2016 when he was still vice president. And now we know that, okay, the autopen was used. It gets used. It's not, not the only one to use it.
I remember even early on his presidency that that people were taking a look at his signatures like, why is every signature identical?
Yes. Which, I mean, again, the use of the autopen is a standard thing in the presidency. He's not the first one to use it. He is the first one to use it while there is very good reason to suspect that he was senile.
Yes, so I think you told me before we came on that George Bush used it a bit, and then Obama.
Yes. There is precedent for the use of the autopen.
And I assume that president, whoever it was at the time, would have given authorization for the autopen to be used. And that's where the crux of it comes.
That's the actual issue.
Yes.
It's not the technicality, okay, the president was too busy, so he used a machine to do the signing for him. Fair enough. There are some cases where this has happened. However, while having genuine medical concerns that would have triggered Article 25, the removal of the president due to incapacity.
And they didn't need him because they could sign without him.
And they didn't need, and he wouldn't have known. So if you tried to say, well, Obama signed this, Obama would have said, absolutely not. He's intellectually there no matter what you think about him. Same for Bush, same for Trump. With Biden, now it's a legitimate legal question. And you saw that for the pardons, Hunter Biden's pardon was signed manually.
Well, I've got that actually. So the one that he did sign himself, the one that really mattered to him was pardoning his son. We don't know what his son was pardoned for, but he did get a legitimate pardon.
Yep. So Hunter's Biden is again, did he sign something while he was mentally compromised? Because your signature is valid if you're genuinely senile, even if you do it by hand.
Yes.
So the questions there go beyond the autopen. They go into everything that has been signed.
Do.
And this is a legal hornet's nest. I have no idea what the legalese around.
Oh, and I think this needs to be
how this
pushed
gets
on.
litigated.
That's the main thing I'm driving at. This needs to be pushed on. I mean, Fauci's pardon, for example, and a whole bunch of other ones, they're just void. So pursue it. Make something of it. And there's a whole bunch of actions which, was the president even aware of? Are they legitimate? Are they valid? So I'm thinking of the COVID actions. Now, remember, as part of that, a lot of people didn't get their cancer treatment. Both here, both in the US and here in some of the vassal states. People did not get their cancer treatment, which he is now going to get excellent treatment for, I'd imagine, too late. But a lot of people didn't. The J6ers, the appalling things that happened to them, including a number of them were denied cancer treatment in prison. And then when their families complained, they were moved across the country so that family couldn't get to them. Wow. Disgusting things like that. The Ukraine war, how legitimate was that? Was that done by the deep state or his staffers, or was it legitimate? Was it a legitimate? Well, he wasn't a legitimate president, but how much was he in control of that? Bear in mind, the US bombed a NATO country. They bombed Germany, taking out their pipeline.
Stream, yeah.
Yes.
The appointment of many illegitimate judges. no less than this one. This is the Supreme Court one that they put up. Justice Shaniqua Brown Sugar Jackson. I believe that's the name.
Who just went 8-1, did she not, in a Supreme Court decision regarding deporting a bunch of Haitians? And
who's the base black guy on the?
Clarence
Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. Okay.
I love Clarence Thomas's because normally you don't criticise another justice, do you?
Yes.
But he just writes scathing, answers to her nonsense judgments.
I mean, she's the one who said she couldn't say what a woman is because she isn't a biologist in her confirmation hearing.
Right.
So this is the level of ideologue that we're dealing at here.
Yes.
And in a way, anything that she strongly disagrees with is probably good. So
well, she didn't know what a woman was. Couldn't she have asked that doctor that we showed earlier, Rachel Levin or something? She could have asked. But the key question for me is this, and it's a legitimate question: who was running the country under Joe Biden?
This is what we don't know.
Was it Barack Obama? Because unlike other presidents, he maintained a residence in Washington.
Yes.
Was it Jill Biden?
Yep.
Was it the deep state? Was it a bunch of millennial staffers buzzing around him who just basically did their own thing and pursued their own agendas? It's very hard not
all
to
of the above in different settings. I mean,
yes.
Sorry, no, please, I interrupted.
No, there was complete chaos in this administration in that the personnel were constantly making bad decisions. People like Jake Sullivan and Anthony Blinken were constantly making absolutely reckless decisions about everything.
Yeah.
And then Joe Biden would get wheeled around and we'd be told that he's absolutely fine. And then they knew that he was extremely heavily medicated, at least for cancer treatment, in addition to not being mentally there.
Yeah.
And now they're admitting that he wasn't there.
And
now they're admitting that he was mentally not there.
They could easily use the timing of that medication and its withdrawal and all the rest of it to control him completely. If they didn't want him lucid for a day, they would easily have been able to do that and then sign whatever they damn well liked with that autopen of theirs.
Remember all the days in the campaign and beyond the campaign where they would basically call it a wrap by 9 a.m. And sort of end all activity by 9 a.m.? And it was to prepare for this or to prepare for that.
Yes.
Well,
yep.
Well, and also, obviously we can't forget really the final few weeks of his presidency where he announced that he wouldn't be running again. It's like, well, he didn't make that decision himself,
no, he
did
didn't
he?
Make that
No, that came
himself.
Very unofficially from his ex account of all things.
That smelt like a last minute coup inside the palace.
Yes.
But clearly the original plan was because they would have known about this diagnosis. The original plan was that he would have been elected because he would have been re-elected because he's more popular, and the other guy would have been assassinated or whatever they needed to do. And then about 100 days in, he would drop out. He would suddenly discover cancer, drop out, and then she would be installed as president.
Yeah.
These people,
it makes it strange that he was fighting so hard to get re-elected, because there was a point where he was going up against Pelosi and Schumer and all of the other cast of characters and saying to them, no, I'm going to run anyway, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Yep.
He knew that he had cancer from that slip of tongue that he had, although did he remember afterwards? We don't know. But he was holding on with everything that he had.
Yep.
And they decided to get rid of him, and now they decided to humiliate him before he died.
Yep. I mean,
it's sinister.
It is. My clear message is that this was the last presidency was a coup from start to finish, and Donald Trump, if you're watching, as I know you often do, people need to go to jail for this. This needs to be investigated. Those pardons need to be thrown out. You need to set you need to set a standard here. You need to go after these people.
Justice for Joe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Justice for Joe.
Yeah.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.